welcome everybody to a new season here at Frozen Oil, and welcome to the Edmonton Oilers 25-26 season preview episode. Today we have our regulars, Raja, the real Terry M, and Wayner. Welcome to the show, gentlemen, and looking forward to doing this. Are you guys pumped for this season or what?
Let's go.
Let's do it.
Ready.
Right.
It's been a long time. It's been forever.
We're definitely rusty. On today's episode, we are going to get everybody's thoughts on kind of the Oilers and where they stand kind of at the moment going into the new season. The Oilers get at it here on October 8th, I believe, Wednesday, against the Calgary Flames at home here at Rogers. So we'll be kicking off the season there, and we're going to just start off this episode here by just going around and asking all you fellas about kind of what you think the Oilers look like this season, kind of their strengths, their weaknesses, and let's just kick it off with Raja.
Hey.
How you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
Good. What are your thoughts on the Oilers at this point in time?
My biggest concern has to be on defense, which doesn't make sense because they have $26 million invested in their top three. But if we look at last year, Bouchard had a horrible regular season. So what kind of start is he going to get off to? Number two is Ekholm. When he came back, he did not look good at all against Florida. I'm hoping that's a side effect of his recovery and not his age. So, I mean, he looked half the man he was on the ice. And Darnell Nurse, how many times is he going to ice the puck this year? That's my biggest concern. So
you should track that stat.
So the defense, you're questioning the defense off the bat here.
Yes, because I don't trust half of them right now. I love the acquisition from last year's trade deadline from San Jose. That was one of the best trades we've ever made at the deadline, I think. He's worked out so good. He was actually overall the best overall defenseman in my opinion. Bush was obviously the best offensive defenseman, but if we look at overall, he was by far number one for me in the playoffs.
Cool. So any strengths that you see this year over last year?
Well, obviously we still have the best two players, right? So McDavid, Draisaitl, we're going to ride the boys like usual, and they're going to take us as far as they can. So McDavid's still the best, no questioning. And Draisaitl is number 2 or 3, depends who you ask. So we're in really good shape, at least our, top 6. We know what we're going to get.
And at least for one more year with 97. We'll get to that later on in this episode, as I do have 10 questions that I'll be asking you guys here later on in the episode. Terry, welcome back, buddy. How was your summer?
Summer was good. It flew by. Obviously, here in Edmonton, we don't get a long summer, so it flew by as it normally does. But it's good to be back here and good to be going into the season.
Awesome. Well, welcome back, and I'll ask you the same question I asked Raj. What are your thoughts on this current rendition of the Edmonton Oilers going into the 25-26 season?
It's going to be interesting to see. I think there's going to be a period of adjustment, I think, because there's been, quite a few changes that's going on. Obviously, the expectation is for the Oilers to make the cup again. For the defense, Raj, I don't know if I'm too worried about it. for the most part, Darnell Nurse plays, really good in the regular season or good in the regular season. He just seems to fall apart in the playoffs for some odd reason. Like you said, we added Jake Wallman. We still have Brett Kulak, Ty Emberson. We got a pretty solid decor. I've said this for the past couple of years. I think goaltending is still going to be a focal point for the Oilers. I don't know if this 30 pounds off Stuart Skinner is going to do anything. He hasn't really impressed me in preseason. Another sub 900 Wayner, another sub 900 save percentage last game. But I guess we'll see what happens. As for the pluses, like you said, we still got McDavid, we've got Draisaitl, we got a lot of young talent now, which is a move the Oilers had to do. They don't necessarily have a lot of prospects, and the prospects they need to get experience. Like they need to, the AHL or Swedish Elite League or whatever it is just, it's good, but they need to get some NHL experience for what they have. So it's good to see, Isaac Howard up here, Savoie up here. I really like David Tomaszek, so we'll see what happens with him. But we got a lot of young players. Mangiapane, I think will put up, his 20 goals or whatever the heck it is this season. It'll just depend on where they decide they're going to start putting all of these players. You're talking about Draisaitl now playing on the left wing. Who's going to be playing center on this on the second line? Is it going to be Draisaitl? Is it going to be Nuge? What happens when Hyman comes back? So there's a lot of moving pieces. Where do you put Podkolzin? So there's a lot of moving pieces. So I think it's going to be a lot of Rich. I know you hate this where they keep changing the lines, but I think they're gonna have to play around with lines a little bit. But there's a lot of talent on the Oilers, and like I said, they're a lot younger, and hopefully these young players can kind of fill in for the guys that left. Because they're going to need it in order to make that playoff run. And obviously that playoff run is going to be important on if, and when McDavid signs with us again.
Awesome. Some good points there, yeah. And I'm sick and tired of all the movement, you're right. But getting used to it now after, 10 years of McDavid and it's still going on. Wayner.
That didn't take long.
Wayner, welcome back, buddy. Welcome to the season preview show.
Thank you.
How was your summer?
It was great.
Yeah.
Actually, probably the best summer I've ever had.
Glad to hear that. Wayner, I'll ask you the same question. How are your feelings going into the 25-26 Edmonton Oilers season?
Well, first of all, I think it's all about the playoffs for this team. We're a proven regular season team. I don't think I'm too worried about the regular season or our division. We got a strong enough team for sure, especially the forwards. Our biggest weakness has to be our goaltending. How can it not be? I mean, as you said, Terry, too many games under 900 and two goalies that really haven't proven that they could get us there, but can they win the whole thing, right? And for this team, it's all about the cup. It's cup or bust, really. That's the level we're at. So, how does Skinner hold up as a number one? We'll see. Only time will tell. And if he doesn't, then hopefully they actually make a move that helps them through the playoffs. If it gets to that, hopefully not, but if it gets to that. Forwards, another big question mark for me, are how are the young guys going to hold up over an 82-game season, over, playing top minutes with top-end players? Can they hold their own? And another one is how do they weather the storm while Hyman's out, right? So if they could kind of just, get those new guys in there, they're playing well. When Hyman comes back in and it's just an added weapon to, a team that's already functioning all cylinders, then great. Then we should roll. We should roll the regular season. But if we have to struggle and come from behind and battle again, and then and we're questioning goaltending, then we might have some issues by the trade deadline. So we'll see. But those are kind of my thoughts on how the season is going to go. But it's all about the playoffs for this team.
Awesome. Well, I don't know. I'm more of a glass half empty kind of guy for this season. I mean, it's well documented, my thoughts on the critical mistakes by management, last summer, letting two key assets, your own developed and drafted players walk for essentially nothing on offer sheets. I was screaming at the top of my lungs. It's well documented on this channel. And then you have, this season, everyone talking about, we need young blood coming into the system and young blood, entering this, and they need NHL minutes and this and that, and you had it. And now you're going in with even, younger than young. I mean, 21, 22 is young in the NHL, but I mean, right now we're going with, 20-year-old guys. And we'll get to that. It's actually one of the questions here coming up on Savoie and Howard. But for me, it's just a lot of questions. There's too many questions. 2 years ago, I was, ready to bet the farm on the Oilers winning the Cup. Last year, I wasn't as obviously confident, but I felt that, that comeback from that LA series just gave them so much momentum. They kind of just rolled through Vegas and Dallas, and then obviously got stymied again in the finals against just an overall more powerful, well-rounded team in the Florida Panthers. So, I mean, for me, it's, going to be much of the same thing you guys are asking. Is defense going to hold up? The defense has added pressure because of our goaltending situation. So is the defense going to hold up? Is the goaltending situation going to, be a distraction again this year? I mean, just going on Twitter, and after, Stuart Skinner's couple of performances, I mean, the fan base is just, and, they have every right to speak out, because this thing has been going on, this trial has been going on for a while, and that's it. Like, no more excuses this year. Like, either Stuart Skinner is our starting goalie, or a decision needs to be made.
It feels like this is the year where it's got to be it. The experiment ends this year. Yeah,
I felt that should have ended last year, personally.
Yes.
Yeah. But
I mean, there's a lot of pro Skinner people that will say, it was the goal. Like, we changed the goalie coach. He has a different mindset going into the season. There's a lot of, things. But I mean, you get through a quarter or a third of the season, if there's any doubt at all that there isn't an improvement in the one area of consistency, a change would have to be made.
The thing, Richie, though, is with Skinner, it has to be a drastic change. Like, it can't be a small improvement over last year, because the last two playoffs is always going to be lingering in the fans' minds, the players' minds, and of course in his mind. Like, it has, in my opinion, it has to be a drastic. Like, he needs to be in like top 12. Top 13 goalies stats-wise in the league for there to be any confidence of having Skinner going into the playoffs.
That personally, that ship has sailed for me. I love the fact that he's an Edmonton product, and he's such a great guy. Again, such a great guy off the ice. But I don't know. I just think the pressure here in Edmonton has gotten to him, and some of the things that I've seen over the last 3 years. You can say, okay, in his first year, maybe the nervousness, the second year, okay, but just it's got to be, like you said, Terry, it's got to be a significant, noticeable change this year. Otherwise, we're just, gonna get right back to where we were last year, where we're letting in goals that can cost us, a game and eventually a series. So, and just to continue, other than what Raj said about defense and about goaltending and Wayne, these new young talents, it's a lot to kind of pressure on these young kids to just say, hey, you're going to come in and all of a sudden be these 20, 30 goal scorers, because that's essentially what you're looking for playing with McDavid and Draisaitl. So long story short, I'm not super optimistic. I just kind of want to skip the whole season, and hopefully the Oilers are in a playoff spot and get to that trade deadline and kind of measure the team there. So that's my thoughts. That's my honest opinion. We'll kind of see. So well, thanks everybody. That was awesome. Now let's get to, I have 10 questions prepared here, and we'll just kind of go clockwise here. We'll start with Raj. And obviously the elephant in the room, McDavid and his contract. With the recent events of Kaprizov just signing, I believe, $17 million per year, the question is, Raj, when will 97 sign?
Yeah, I mean, he's such a team guy that I don't know if he's gonna want it to become a distraction for that much longer. So I think he gives the organization and the fans an early Christmas gift, and I'm gonna say by the end of November, it's sealed.
Ooh, so we're starting the season without a McDavid contract. Thank you very much. Terry, question is, when will number 97 sign his extension?
I'm kind of torn between two. My one theory was he signs right after Kaprizov signs. My other one is kind of more logical, and like I said, it's a big move for McDavid. Everybody talks about it. I think people are kind of blowing it out of proportion. It's a big move for McDavid. It's his career, his kind of legacy is on the line. I think he likes Edmonton. He likes playing here. He wants to win a cup here. He just kind of wants to see what's going on with the team. Like I said, there's a lot of changes, new talent coming up. I think he kind of wants to gauge everything. So I'm going to go a little bit longer, Raj. I think he signs before the new year. I think he'll sign before the new year. I don't know about end of November. Maybe, like you said, December sometime, before the end of the new year, depending on what the Oilers do.
So Roger says early Christmas present. Terry, you say Christmas present.
Christmas to late Christmas, yeah.
Wayner, what are you thinking on this? Again, the question is, when will 97 sign his extension?
When? Well, obviously that's a tough question. Only he knows, where he's at with that. For me, it's either after the trade deadline or in October. It's. I don't see the point in doing it anywhere between that, because either you're on board right now or you want to see what's happening with the team after they make some moves, possibly if they need to after the deadline. I don't think it goes past that, but if I had to pick one, I'd say Kaprizov being done now. He'll sign this month. He'll sign in October.
So October, November to the end of December. I'll ask myself the same question of when will 97 sign, and I hope and pray that it's happening before the start of the season. I personally think that if he doesn't sign before the start of the season, it's going to be way, way, way too much of a distraction going into the season. And this theory of he wants to gauge the team, well, like, what is there to gauge? You're obviously worse off this year than last year. You can't, what's he going to do? Go practice and play regular season games with two rookies on the top two lines and expect that that's going to be like he's going to be like some sort of scout within the team to give his thoughts on those two prospects and where they're going to end up. Like, I just don't buy into that. I just think this thing has to be resolved and settled. And I'll also further that and say that if it gets to the trade deadline, like you're saying, and there is no deal and the trade deadline passes, we are in massive trouble at that point. Because if McDavid, I'll say it again, if Connor McDavid walks from the Edmonton Oilers and we get nothing in return for the best player in the NHL, that is going to be the biggest monumental disaster ever to this organization. And I'll leave it at that.
There's a 2%.
And also, you guys gotta remember, even if it gets to July 1st next year, and he goes to free agency, I mean, it doesn't mean he's signing somewhere else. You know, he'll take a look around, see what some places are offering. He could very well sign with Edmonton again. Obviously, we don't want to let it get to that point. I don't think it's being as much of a distraction in the locker room when you're an actual player, as we make it out to be as a fan, for sure. Because we obviously want to lock him in, and there's uncertainty. But I think behind closed doors with the team and everything, I think they definitely know a little bit more than what we know.
Well, I'll just keep riding on the faith that that his best buddy and pal Draisaitl signed 8 years and he's gonna stay. So hopefully that's the case. Question number 2, gentlemen. Raj, we'll start again with you. Will the goalie tandem be the same going into the playoffs this year? Doing some predictions here.
I mean, I patiently kept my mouth shut when you guys were talking about our goaltending. So I'm in the minority. And I'm going to remind you, I mean, Skinner did not cost us the Stanley Cup. If we look at Game 7 of the first match against Florida, he was on top of his game. I mean, we barely lost. You can't blame him. If we look at last year, what happened?
I was goal 2.
What happened Game 5 when we came back to Edmonton? Nobody showed up. You can't put that on Skinner. I mean, Skinner made mistakes. Yes, Skinner wasn't even in net for Game 5. It was Calvin.
Yeah,
Pickard. But I mean, that's when we got our asses whooped. That was a statement game. If we were gonna win the cup, Game 5, we had to show up at our best, and they didn't even show up at average. Never mind at their best. They were below average the entire game. So for me, I'm not saying Skinner is a top 10 goalie. What I'm saying is, it's not his fault that we keep losing to these guys. Like, he makes very bad mistakes, but he makes up for them. 2 years in a row, he came back in net and saved us and took us all the way to the Stanley Cup Final. Him and Pickard did exact same thing 2 years in a row. So why would I want to get rid of any of those guys? Let's look at somebody like Ottinger. If you ask anybody around the league, they'll tell you, oh, he's top 5 goalie. Look how Edmonton handled him 2 years in a row. So how can you be more confident in a Jake Ottinger than Stuart Skinner? Like, I mean, to me, it's a team thing. It's defense. In this particular rematch, it was coaching 100%, I believe, because Florida did something new. They shut McDavid and Draisaitl. They made them look like average players, and our coaching staff had no answer for that. When you see like in football, especially, there's changes between plays, between quarters. They change tactics because they have to adjust. And we sat there for 3 or 4 games, made 0 adjustments, while Connor, the best player, and Draisaitl, the second best player, made to be looked average. Which and then we can't blame our goaltending.
And McDavid said it in his presser after the series. He said, we kept banging our effing heads against the wall, the same thing over and over.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, there's a saying, you can't beat a dead horse. I mean, you can't do the same thing over and over and over again and expect a different result. You have to adapt. So my answer is our goaltending will not change.
All right. We have sound buttons now, and I just gave you a round of applause because of how passionate that answer was. Terry, question number 2. out of 10. So we're gonna have to speed this along because we're at over 20 minutes. Will the goalie tandem be the same going into the playoffs?
I'll make it quick. Raja, I respectfully disagree. Yes, the tandem will change. Definitely going into the playoffs. I like, Raja's passion, hometown guy. But, I mean, you bring up things like in the playoffs. Listen, the Oilers wouldn't have been anywhere in the playoffs after the first round last year when he gave up 6 goals in game 1, and I think 5 goals in game 2 before he got pulled for Pickard, and Pickard pulled him through that LA Kings series. And we were all both looking. We're like, okay, well, what's going on? What are we going to do now, right? As for the year before, again, Oilers wouldn't have been in the finals if Pickard wouldn't have saved him in the Vancouver series. And those are the ups and downs. I get it. You can't necessarily blame Skinner for everything, but we need stability in net. Like, we cannot have this up and down. Don't know what shutout here, 6 goals there, 1 goal here, 5 goals there. We don't need a superstar goalie. I've said it multiple times. We need a goalie that's just going to make the saves that he has to, maybe, save him, break him out of a breakaway or something else like that, and just add some stability back there. And I just don't see it with Skinner. You do not know what you're going to get with Skinner back there. So, yes, it's going to be a different tandem going into the playoffs this year.
All right. Terry says yes. Raj says no. Wayne, you are going to be a tiebreaker right now.
I have to completely disagree with you, Raj, and totally agree with Terry. The word, to piggyback off what Terry said, stability. And I'll add another word, consistency. It's like a roller coaster ride with this guy, and then eventually when you ride the roller coaster for too long, you get sick. And I think it's more so for the players playing in front of the goaltender. Like, to me, I believe the goalie's job is to calm and settle the team down. When you got a guy who feels like you're riding a roller coaster with every single night, you don't know which Skinner you're going to get. It affects your play. Like, even if you don't know it's just about calming the team down. Like Terry said it, we don't need superstar goaltending. We don't have the cap space for a superstar goalie. And like Raj said, to his credit, Ottinger's supposed to be a superstar goaltender, and he's not consistent either. A lot of these guys aren't. Shesterkin had a terrible year last year. Like, what goalie is, consistent all the time? But with Skinner, it's just too much inconsistency. And all we're asking for is above average, to mediocre goaltending. And not this, ride the wave of, terrible game to, he stole us the game, to terrible game. He's just give us the stability back there so the players can feel confident playing in front of them. And I think it would make a world of difference. So absolutely not. I've seen enough from both. I really hope I'm wrong. I don't think we're going to have the same tandem after the trade deadline. No. As much as I like the guy.
And just to add on to that, Wade, listen, I get it. Goalies can have bad games or, get off to bad starts. We always talk about first shot, one goal or whatever the heck it is. But with Skinner, what I notice is it's like he gets off to a bad start and that's it. The game is done. There's no coming back. He's not getting back in the game and composing himself and giving the Oilers a chance. It's like, a snowball effect. He lets that first goal or first couple goals in and you can pretty much write the game off, right? If he can let that first goal in and settle himself and actually come back and have a good game and give him a chance to win, sure, but you just don't see that enough from him.
Yeah.
Well,
that's the problem.
For myself, it's a difference between what do I want and what's reality. So, unfortunately, I'm going to have to side with Roger on this and say that it will be the same goalie tandem going into the playoffs. And that is because, and I'll say this to the end of days, Ken Holland absolutely sabotaged this Edmonton Oilers franchise. The cap situation right now is still not good. And in order to get that significant upgrade, it's just not going to happen. And like you guys said, we don't want to get, Skinner off the books and then bring in a guy that's also kind of at that level, which is basically 15 and below goaltender. We need and want a reliable goalie that's in the top 15 in the league that can produce, a save percentage of over 900. And that's just a fairy tale for us because of the situation that we're in with the cap. So I'm going to say yes. And I'll agree with Roger that, the reasoning for it might be different, but the answer will be the same. And it will be yes. Now, moving on to question 3, because you guys are very passionate about those first 2 topics. Question number 3, and I'm going to give you the answers. You have to give one of these answers. Will Savoie or Howard stick? Answer 1, Savoie. Answer 2, Howard. Answer 3, both. And why? Roger, go ahead. Do you see Savoie or Howard sticking on the team?
I think both of them will stick, not because I'm confident, because what other choice have they left themselves with? Our farm system, and every contender
Depleted.
goes through this. The Penguins went through this, but I mean that's what happens when you're aiming to win when your only goal every year is to win the cup. You're gonna trade a lot of assets, and that's normal. I don't hold that against them. And then you throw in the cap space situation, and then we're really in a corner. So whether we like it or not, whether they deserve to be here or not, they must be here. I mean, simple as that, in my opinion. They both have to be on the roster. Maybe if one of them struggles, they sit out for a couple of games, see things from a different view. But if one of them gets sent down, they're not getting sent down for more than a couple of weeks. Because we can't afford that. So I think they'll both play at least 80% of the season with the big club here.
All right. A round of applause for that answer. The real Terry M. Will Savoie or Howard stick? Answer 1, Savoie. 2, Howard. 3, both.
Raja, I respectfully agree with you on this one here. The Oilers just don't have any other choice. I mean, who else are they gonna put there? I mean, they've got Curtis Lazar, so I don't know what we're gonna do with him. Remember, you still have the janitor that's going to be playing. Noah Philp in center. Who knows what's going on with him? But there's really nothing else on the wing that they can kind of fill that in. I mean, they're 2 talented guys. They've done their time. Well, I mean, Savoie has at least, but he's done his time. He had a good season last year in the AHL. He's kind of proven himself. So they have nowhere else to go. It has to be them. Will you see them move up and down? Probably a little bit, because I think they're the only 2 forwards that are on a 2-way contract. And if we want to send anybody else down, they'd have to clear waivers to go down to AHL. So, I mean, they're kind of pinned down with them. So you might see them move up and down a little bit. But I think, for the majority of the season, they're going to be up here in the NHL.
All right. Well, we got 2 boths as answers. Wayner, will Savoie or Howard stick? Answer 1, Savoie. 2, Howard. Or 3, both.
I'll go with both. I'll agree with both of them. I'll say both as well. A little more optimistically, though, I do think that Savoie is definitely, shown enough to at least, be a consistent NHLer. And Howard, I think he's just I think he's just going to be sheltered enough where, again, define stick, but does he play all 8? Do they both play all 82? No. But majority of the season, yeah, I absolutely do think that for many of the same reasons that the other guys said, I do think they'll both stick for the majority. And
guys, these are proven, coming up. A lot of our forwards, they're proven goal scorers and point getters. Other than maybe Isaac Howard, just because he hasn't had as much experience. But like you said, Savoie had a really good season in the AHL. Tomaszek played really, really well in Europe. I get it's up to NHL, but in the Czech league, the KHL, and the Swedish Elite League, you've seen progression from him, and I think that's why he's kind of getting this shot. And Isaac Howard, he's a dynamic player, and he even came out and he said, "Listen, I'm willing to do whatever to make the team. So if he has to go on a third line as a checker, or whatever the heck it is, I don't see him doing that. I see him to be a top 2 center. But if we needed him to do that, he's willing to do that. So, like I said, there's a lot of talent there. It's just, can they produce?"
Well, I will be going against all of you on this. And I will say my answer will be number 1, Savoie. Savoie will stick. He will make the team. He will be impactful as well. Very talented. I was very impressed with him in the preseason so far. His speed has went up a notch, and he's a talent. Like, I can see it through and through with this guy. And again, remember, we gave up Ryan McLeod to get him. Like, not a proven third line center in the NHL that was young at the time, still in his career. But from the looks of things right now, well worth that move, because I see Savoie as sticking, playing the whole season, God forbid any injuries. And the reason I didn't say both is there's no way on earth Isaac Howard is going to go down to a third line checking line position. Either he comes in and lights the league up like Timo Solani did in his rookie season, or this guy is going to be sent down to grow. And not necessarily his game. We saw, his one-timer in one of the preseason games, an unreal shot. But I just feel the grueling length of the season, the size difference between, a 20-year-old and a 30 to 35-year-old 6'5" defenseman coming at you, crash and bang. I just don't see him being able to handle that at this point in time. Obviously, he gets a little older, he fills in a little more. He's going to be a massive asset. I'm not trying to disrespect Isaac Howard in any way. I just don't see him sticking this entire season with the Edmonton Oilers. That's my official opinion. Question number 4. Another big off-season move for the Oilers is bringing in Mangiapane. Question number 4, Roger. How many goals do you predict Mangiapane to score this year? Just the number, please.
28.
28. Real Terry M.
Roger, you and I think alike. I had him at 27 goals.
Whoa. Still great. Near 30 goal campaign. Wayner, how many goals?
I'll go a little under and say 25.
25.
Yeah.
Nice.
And we'll take that.
We will definitely take that. I will also say, I was going to say 25 as well, Wayne. I do see him cracking 20 goals quite handily with a little bit of luck. And if the Oilers actually have a second power play unit this year, and he does see a little bit of time, he could push 30 goals. So I will agree on that. And I was very happy with this signing because Mangiapane with the Flames was an Oiler killer. Much to the likes of Damon Langkow back in the day, where every time the Oilers would play this team, this guy would just somehow score. So very happy to have him. And I'll also like to mention, is he's wearing number 88 this year?
I think so, yeah.
I think so, yes.
Yeah, he's wearing the Eric Lindros, former favorite player of mine. I used to always do trades in NHL to bring Lindros to the Oilers. And we'd always win the cup, so hopefully that's an omen with the number 88
I'd always just create my own player and made sure I passed it to myself to score.
All right, we're at the halfway point here. Number 5 question is, will Connor McDavid break 50 goals this year? Roger.
No. I think, he'll have a great season, but he gets so much attention and he always finds a way to find the open man. So I don't see that changing. I say under 50 for sure.
Okay, Terry?
You and I had a chat about this, Richie. I think his actual number is like 36.5 or 37.5 is kind of what he's predicted. But you know what? Even if it's Connor McDavid, contract year, he talks about how he has to shoot. We know the guy can score at will, so I'm going to go yes.
All right, I like that answer. Wayner, is 97 going to break 50?
Easy yes. Simply because he stated that he wants to shoot more.
Yeah.
That's all I need. That's all I need to hear. He can do whatever he wants if he puts his mind to it. He's putting his mind to it. I don't even care about anything else. Yes.
Well, I'm also going to say yes because I've already seen in the preseason him taking more shots where he usually passes. So I'm going to say yes to that as well, which gets us to question number 6. Going on the backs of will 97 break 50, are we going to have another 50-goal man in number 29, Leon Draisaitl? Will Draisaitl break 50? Roger?
1,000%. I mean, this guy is money, man. Especially if he plays with McDavid. That's where I don't think McDavid will score it. So if they play together, like Knoblauch has said, he wants to try them out together for a while, then I can just see McDavid setting him up Draisaitl like a lot. And I don't know if there's a better finisher in the league. Obviously Ovechkin, but the last, say 3-4 years, Draisaitl is a top finisher. And I think he's hit 50 goals 4 times now, maybe. So why not 5? I think he'll do it for sure.
Terry?
Yeah, 100%. Draisaitl is by far the best goal scorer on our team. The guy is elite level scoring. And, I was even reading that, if there was somebody in the league that could go on to break, I guess now Ovechkin's record, it would be somebody like Leon Draisaitl. Like, the guy's just unbelievable. Absolute stud, 100%.
Wayner?
100% yes. There'll be enough goals to go around for both McDavid and Draisaitl to both hit 50. I absolutely believe that.
I don't have they both broke 50 goals before?
At the same time?
At the same? No.
No, right?
No.
Yeah.
I think
David only did it once, right? So
I think this is going to be the year where they both do it. If my memory serves me correct, and it didn't happen before. When McDavid got 60 whatever, how many did Draisaitl have?
I think he had 40 something. I don't think he broke 50 that year.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I don't. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Question number 7. How many 100-point players will the Oilers have? Now, obviously, McDavid and Draisaitl should hopefully, knock on wood, break 100 points. So essentially, I'm asking, is anybody else going to be in that realm this year? We had Nuge break it a couple years ago. Is anyone else going to break the 100-point plateau on the Oilers?
No, I don't think so. Nuge is the only guy, but that only happened once, and everything was working perfect for him. He was on a roll most of the year, and then we saw last year, it took him a while to find his, goal scoring. He got off to a pretty slow start. That doesn't mean he's going to get off to a slow start again. I think he'll do better. But for him, that 100-point season, that was just I think one of a kind. It's not going to be a regular thing. He's awesome, but he's more like an 80-point guy. So I'm going to say, other than our 2 stars, nobody else will hit there.
Awesome. Terry?
Yeah, I'm going to agree. I think, Draisaitl and McDavid will be the only 2. I mean, if we really look at it, how many people break 100 in a season throughout the whole league? 8, 10, maybe, right? So I think Draisaitl, McDavid will be the only ones. What I think we'll see, though, is we're going to have a lot of Oilers in the, 17 to 20 plus goal range. I think the Oilers have the possibility they could have easily 6 plus, 7 plus 20 goal scorers this year, and a lot of players kind of in that 40 to 50 kind of point range. I think with the Oilers this year.
Lots of 20 goal scorers on your team is usually the sign of a Stanley Cup champion team. Wayner, do you see anyone breaking 100 points?
Absolutely not. No, they'll be the two studs and that's it. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I don't mind the rest of the lineup being spread out a little bit more as far as points go. So no, and the year that Nuge did it, he played a good chunk of the year with McDavid and Hyman that year, if I'm not mistaken. So Hyman being hurt and McDavid not starting the year with Nuge on his line potentially, I would say no chance. So no, just the two studs.
Well, I will say yes, and probably Roger's going to freak out when I say this. I think evanbouchard is going to break 100 points this year. That's my bold prediction. I think he's got his big money contract now. He's got a lot to prove. Loved him in the playoffs last year. Obviously, still makes those critical mistakes here and there that can cost you a game. But overall, I think he is a true offensive talent. Moving on to question number 8. What will the Oilers' record be after 41 games, the halfway point? Roger.
I think there'll be 8 games over 500.
Okay. So what is that mathematically?
Well, that would be 500 would be half of 41, right? So let's say 28 to 29 wins.
Awesome. Terry?
I don't think they'll be that far. Like I'm thinking like a 25 and 15, 16 or whatever the heck it would be. Somewhere kind of in that range, maybe even a little bit less. They're usually slow starters with the changes, so it might even be a few games over 500, 20, 23 and 18, 24 and 17, something like that, I think.
All right, very Switzerland answers, very neutral answers. Wayner, you got something bold?
25, 12 and 4.
Whoa. So
That's
you're
13,
thinking the Oilers are going to have a great first half to the season.
13 games over 500. So, Raj, I think your math's a little bit off, but 13 games over 500, 25 wins. I think they come out with. I think they're sick of these slow starts in October, November, and I think they're just going to roll. The division's weaker, in my opinion.
Other than Vegas, I think Vegas got stronger.
Other than Vegas, like overall, yeah, the division, like I don't see it as that much of a threat. With all due respect to the other teams there, they're building, but they're not on our level. Other than maybe Vegas and even Vegas, like I think we're a notch above them. So 25, 12 and 4, we roll. They're sick of hearing about the slow starts, and McDavid's a little bit angry. So. He's lost in the final 2 years in a row, and he still doesn't have a contract that he's satisfied with. So, look out the rest of the league.
I'm going to say they're going to be hovering around 500, and the reason for that is I just feel they lost a lot of integral players that might not bring the offense or the defense or whatever, but these are character guys. In Corey Perry not being here, he willed us back in a lot of regular season games. Evander Kane missed the whole season last year, but came back in the playoffs and was a significant factor. He's also gone, as well as Connor Brown. Again, not a regular season, guy, but when he does score, they're usually a big goal. So for that reason, I think on the character side, I believe that we're going to be lacking in that kind of grit department. And again, when you're replacing these kind of guys with just young guys with very little NHL experience, I just feel there's going to be a lot of the Oilers, not McDavid and not Draisaitl, but a lot of the other guys on the, especially forwards, they're going to get pushed around this year. And if that happens, we're going to be in trouble. So
I don't know. Also, remember, guys, we're getting a healthy Trent Frederick, who's a big dude who looks really, really good here in the preseason. Mangiapane is a little bit small, but he can play both ways as well. Podkolzin has now signed his contract, so he's good to go. Another big body. Yeah, we're going to need people to step up, but I don't think it's going to be as bad as people thought. I mean, Corey Perry, yeah, he's great, but he was old. He's injured now, so I mean.
Well, that's why we do these, to see how well we can predict things. So that's what I think. Number 9, is this the year where the Oilers finally win their division title? Roger, can the Oilers win the Pacific Division this year?
I think so. Yeah, for sure.
Wow.
Vegas is the only threat, and we were pretty close to Vegas. We're always close to them, but Stone looks like really old all of a sudden. Peter Angelo may not play at all. Marner is, he's a threat, but I mean, he's, like you were just mentioning, he's pretty small. Like, you can push him around, no problem. And the goaltending also, like, after winning the Stanley Cup, their goaltending kind of started going not crazy downhill, but for sure worse than it was. So I think this is the perfect year for the Oilers to take the division.
They haven't won the division since 1987.
This is it. This is the year.
I agree. Yes, they do. I said this last year.
Wow, you guys are blowing my mind here. Really?
I said this last year. And I say it again. And the Oilers should have did this last year, and they stumbled going into the playoffs. But the Oilers need to make a statement going into the playoffs this year. None of this stumbling in and questioning, are they going to get out of the first round? McDavid's in his contract year, like you said, he's got a point to prove. The Oilers have lost 2 Stanley Cup Finals, so it's either they don't make the playoffs or they come like a bat out of hell. So I think they're going to make a statement. The Oilers are going to take it. Like you said, Vegas will probably be the only other team that can kind of compete with them. I agree with what Roger said. Although they do have that goalie who's got a cool name, Akira Schmid. Pretty cool name for a goalie. We've seen him a little bit in the playoffs there, but not going to be good enough for them to overthrow the Oilers there in the Pacific.
Wainer,
of course.
Are you going to continue the trend here, or are you going to break the mold?
Of course. No. They win the division this year.
Whoa.
For many of the same reasons. Plus, like I said, the division's weak. I'm not worried about who are we worried about in our division other than Vegas. So if it's between us and Vegas, I'm hoping that the Oilers not having a bad start. The only reason why we haven't won the division the last couple of years is because of our starts. I just don't believe they're going to have that happen again or allow that to happen again. So, them having a great start, coming out of the gates well, and then even just playing consistently well after that is going to be enough in our division to win the division. So, yeah, of course they do.
All right. I'll be the guy on the lonely island once again. I will say no.
Is something wrong today? Did you eat something?
I told you from the beginning of the episode, man. I am not.
What's going on?
I'm not hyped for this season, guys. I'm not hyped for the way I was the last 2 years.
What's making you feel that way? Is it because we lost Corey Perry? Like, what is it? Like,
I just don't feel it this year. I mean, that could change by the time the trade deadline comes along, which will be the next question and the last question. But yeah, I do not see it happening. Who to worry about? I see Vegas still as a threat. I see the LA Kings as a threat, and I also see Vancouver completely rebounding this year. Their team is heavy. and Demko obviously is going to be a huge factor in that. But if Demko is, back to all-star caliber, I see the Canucks also challenging for the division. A big turnaround from last year, so I don't see it as an easy walk in the park.
Well, your boy Ken Holland is running the Kings.
I just don't think the Oilers are going to do it. They have had a track record of, not taking their foot off the gas. Last year, after the Four Nations, there was 12 games after. It was just horrible. I wanted to puke. And again, those things cost you division titles. So this being an Olympic year, there's going to be a lot of condensed schedule. And if the Oilers are hot, it's going to help. But it's also going to go against them if they're, not firing on all cylinders and they start to get into a losing streak and it's just game every 2 days almost, guys. So I just don't see it happening. I hope so. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I eat my words, but I'm going to say no. Last question. Just the player, please, because we gotta wrap this up. Question number 10. Who do you see as the trade deadline big acquisition for the Oilers this year? Roger.
Sidney Crosby.
Whoa. Wow, Mario is going to love you for that. All right. Sidney Crosby, hey?
Well, there was already, he was asked already, maybe a month ago, if that's something he'd consider, and because everybody's expecting the Penguins to really stink this year. They're obviously in a rebuild. Their stars are old. So would he like another shot at a cup? And it makes a lot of sense for him because he's handing off the NHL. He already did to Connor, right? I mean, Sidney Crosby was the face of the NHL. Now Connor is. So like the passing of the torch, why not try to get one more together? It'd be Connor's first and be one more on Sid's resume. And for them, the fact they did it together, kind of like the Team Canada thing, I think that'd be a really cool ending to a Hall of Fame historic career for Sid the Kid.
Just gave you a round of applause there. I hope that's true, but I highly doubt it. I just don't think Connors would let anybody take any wind out of his sails as to acquiring this cup, and I just don't think that's the case. I could be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong. I'd love to have Sid the Kid here. Terry, who's going to be the biggest acquisition for the Oilers this year?
I don't know. It's got, I'd love to have Sid here, but I think part of his legacy is playing with the same team. He's won everything, so I mean, why would he tarnish that legacy? Play with the same team for his whole career, like Steve Yzerman or somebody like that. So it's got to be like a goalie. I don't even know who's going to be available. Jeremy Swayman, something like that.
Oh,
I don't know what Boston is going to do this year. So it's got to be a big name goalie. That's where it's going to be at for me.
All right, Jeremy Swayman, big name goalie. Wayner.
It's really hard that's a really hard question, but just because I believe that the goaltending tandem I said will change, I'll just pick a goalie. And I do think Nashville will struggle again because they're in a really tough division. I'll just say Saros. Take a shot at something.
Wow, 2 goalies, hey? 2 goalies and Sid the Kid. I am going to predict another Pittsburgh player in his last year of his contract. I am going to go with Evgeny Malkin. Evgeny Malkin would be an unbelievable addition to this Oilers team. Size, obviously got the experience, and can still produce here and there. And I just think if you inject Malkin into a team like the Oilers, he's just going to have so much kind of energy, rejuvenated, and it will just be not exactly the same as Marian Hossa joining, the Chicago Blackhawks, but very kind of similar situation with what he would bring playing on, the third line, for example. So that's going to do it. Thanks so much, guys. I really appreciate it. for
Awesome.
coming on. Best of luck to all of you guys this season, and best of luck to the Edmonton Oilers. Hopefully, again, this is the year that we could bring home Lord Stanley. We got a lot of stuff coming down the pipeline here on the channel. We just finished recording another trivia, Oilers trivia. It's kind of Dirty Dozen style. I don't know if you've watched that before, but it's kind of an Oilers take on that. That's coming down the pipeline. And hopefully we'll have a Connor McDavid big signing episode before the season starts. But other than that, we'll go back to our regular schedule of trying to bring you recaps and videos after every game and throughout the week as well, and throughout the whole season, as well. So that's going to do it for today. Thanks, gentlemen, and please, if you haven't, consider subscribing to the channel. We're a little rusty, so we'll get back into it here. So again, thanks, thanks,
it's
boys.
preseason for us too.
Right.
All right, boys. Well, that'll do it for today's episode. Thanks so much, and most importantly, go Oilers, go!
Oilers, go.
Let's go, Oil!
Frozen or hockey, the channel you need. Oilers on the ice, unstoppable speed. Chasing the cup, we're gonna succeed. With David leading, we're built to exceed.
Frozen or hockey,